This is for housewives and heads of state, for janitors and judges, for CEOs and school teachers, for students in dorm rooms and pastors in pulpits, for mechanics with oil on their hands and ministers with ink on their notes, for politicians making promises and kings wearing crowns. If you touch people, you touch influence. And if you touch influence, you are handling trust. Make a note of this. Write this down. Make it permanent in your spirit. The only thing a leader has to work with is trust. Lose it and you are finished. Titles notwithstanding, regalia notwithstanding, budgets notwithstanding. What did I say? Trust. Say it with me. Trust. Again, trust. When trust leaves the room, leadership dies. Not next week, not after the election immediately. Why does leadership rise and fall on trust more than charisma or talent? Because trust is the oxygen of leadership. Remove it and the body collapses. You can have muscles of money, legs of strategy, a brain of degrees. If there is no oxygen, the body gasps and then goes still. Charisma can attract the crowd. Talent can impress the crowd, but only trust will keep the crowd through the storm. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. Freedom is the fruit of truth, and truth is the root of trust. Where truth is absent, trust suffocates. Where trust suffocates, people scatter. Let me paint it for you. A team with beautiful mission statements and glass-walled conference rooms. Once trust dies, they sit in the same room and build private empires in their heads. Families with framed photos on the wall. Once trust dies, the table grows quiet and the house becomes a hotel. Nations with anthems and flags. Once trust dies, citizens stop listening and start surviving. The compass breaks and the ship drifts. Scripture warns us, it is better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in princes. Psalm 118:8-9. Why? Because confidence in persons without character is counterfeit oxygen. You inhale it and still choke. I sat once with a young mayor at midnight. Fiction can tell the truth better than minutes can. His city was buzzing with sirens and screens, and he whispered, they don't believe me anymore. I looked at him like a father and said, son, then you no longer lead them. You are only managing their suspicion. He wept not because funds were low or enemies were many, but because the one commodity he needed had evaporated. He could still sign papers. He could no longer shepherd hearts. True leadership is not about control, it is about service. True leadership is not about power, it is about empowerment. And service and empowerment are impossible where trust is bankrupt. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Faithfulness builds trust, grain by grain, day by day, when no one is clapping. Make a note of this. Your voice carries only as far as your trust account allows. Guard it, feed it, breathe it. Without it, leadership is a corpse dressed for a parade. With it, even a whisper can move a nation. Make a note of this. What leaders actually trade is not speeches, not slogans, not signatures. Write this down. Leaders trade in one commodity: trust. Every decision is a transaction. You either make a deposit or you make a withdrawal. True leadership is not about control, it is about service. True leadership is not about power, it is about empowerment. But hear me, well, service and empowerment have to be purchased, and the price is trust. You cannot tip people with charisma and call it service. Charisma draws attention. Trust grants permission. What did I say? Permission. Without permission, you are a noise with a title. Authority can be appointed. Influence cannot. Authority can be handed to you in a ceremony. Influence must be deposited daily into the trust account of people. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. Why? Because a name is a trust account. Your title is a uniform. Your name is your credit. People do not follow your position. They entrust you with their hopes. Let me say it like a father. When a mother puts her child on your bus, she deposits hope. When an employee gives you 8 hours, he deposits dignity. When a congregation sits to listen, they deposit faith. When a nation votes, they deposit the future. You are not collecting fans, you are holding futures. Moreover, it is required in stewards that one be found faithful. 1 Corinthians 4:2. Leaders don't own trust, they steward it. Let's make it practical. Deposits look like this: telling the truth when it costs you, delivering what you promised when it is inconvenient, arriving when you said you would, admitting error without spin, protecting confidences without applause. Withdrawals look like this: exaggerating results to impress, hiding mistakes to save face, blaming subordinates to keep your image, changing standards to fit your mood, promising what you know you cannot deliver. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no, no. Matthew 5:37. That is a deposit manual. Every yes kept adds interest. Every no honored stabilizes the account. Make a note of this: attention can be rented with performance, but permission is earned with consistency. This is why some men talk loudly and no one moves, and others whisper and a city shifts. One has attention, the other has permission. And permission is the surplus of trust accumulated over time. I sat with a board once. They had budgets, charts, and brilliant brands, but no permission. Their people were compliant, but not convinced, busy, but not believing. You can manage tasks without trust. You cannot move hearts. So here's the maxim to memorize: leaders don't own trust, they steward it. Stewardship means accountability. You don't spend it as you please, you invest it as required. You don't gamble it on convenience, you sow it into principles. Remember, leadership is an economy. Every word is a coin, every choice is a check, every secret is a liability or an asset. Guard the account, grow the account. Because when the day of crisis comes, and it will, the only currency that buys calm, cohesion, and courageous action is the trust you have saved when no one was watching. Write this down. Trust grows in 4 soils: truth, time, transparency, and track record. What did I say? Truth, time, transparency, track record. Say it again until it brands your mind. Truth first. Say it straight. Truth liberates and locates reality. Jesus said, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. Freedom follows truth. Trust follows practice truth. It is not the truth you post, it is the truth you practice that makes you trustworthy. Make a note of this: truth is not a mood, it is a map. It tells you where you actually are, not where you wish to be. When a leader lies, he breaks the compass of the people. When a leader speaks truth, even when it cuts, he stitches the future back together. Speaking the truth in love, Ephesians 4:15, means I honor you enough to risk your applause to protect your destiny. True leadership is not about image, it is about integrity. Tell the truth when it costs you most. That is a deposit. Time. Consistency over seasons proves sincerity. Reliability is truth with a calendar. Anyone can be right once. Only a leader can be right again and again and again, through winter and summer, through budget and deficit, through applause and accusation. For everything there is a season, Ecclesiastes 3:1. Habakkuk wrote, though it tarries, wait for it, it will surely come. Habakkuk 2:3, people are not impressed by your announcement, they are converted by your endurance. Make a note of this: speed gets attention, consistency earns permission. Don't sprint for trust, walk it out. True leadership is not about events. It is about habits repeated till they become your name. Your yes, kept for a decade, becomes a pillar that can hold a city. Transparency. Nothing hidden, nothing to hide. Light shortens the distance between promise and proof. There is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17. So wise leaders disclose early. They publish the standard. They invite inspection. They welcome questions. We walk in the light as he is in the light. 1 John 1-7. Transparency is preemptive honesty, showing your process, not just your product, your numbers, not just your narrative. It is not weakness to say, here is where we missed, here is what we will change, here is who will hold me accountable. That is strength, because secrets are termites to trust. Make your leadership a house of windows, not mirrors. Mirrors flatter, windows reveal. Track record. History of kept words becomes evidence for future confidence. Jesus said, by their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Not by their flyers, not by their followers, by their fruits. Track record is truth and time made visible. It is minutes of promises kept, receipts of principles honored, scars of battles fought clean. Keep a ledger of your leadership. What did you vow? What did you deliver? What did it cost? What did it change? Write this down. Results are the biography of your integrity. When a crisis comes, people do not consult your intentions. They consult your history. What did I say? Truth, time, transparency, track record, write them down, put them on your wall, teach them to your team, test them in your home. Trust grows where truth is consistent, time-tested, transparent, and evidenced by results. Guard these four, grow these four, and your whisper will move mountains. Lose them, and even your shout will be a rumor with a title. Make a note of this imported counterfeits bankrupt trust. Write it down. The Greek believed leadership was a product of natural endowment, birth traits, providence, charisma. The Roman worship power and spectacle, bread and circuses, processions and plumes. Both trained us to confuse applause with authority. They said, if he shines, he should rule. Where did he make you one? That's the question. Because shine is not substance and applause is not authorization. Jesus told his disciples, you know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them. Not so with you. Matthew 20, 25, 26. Not so with you. The Gentile model is imported. The kingdom model is intrinsic. One performs to be believed. The other becomes to be trusted. Whoever colonized you convinced you that position equals permission. They replaced character with ceremony and taught you to bow to uniforms instead of principles. Result, well-dressed slaves with crowns but no character. Slaves to image, slaves to applause, slaves to opinions. They gave you titles to tame your purpose. They trained you to wear regalia to hide your emptiness. And now our cities are full of officials who can cut ribbons but cannot keep covenants. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches. Proverbs 22:1. Yet we spend more on robes than on reputation, more on stages than on standards. Make a note of this. The more titles you need, the less leadership you carry. Reduce yourself to your first name and let your works do the advertising. Most of what we call leadership today is manipulation with a microphone. It is optics without obedience, charisma without covenant. It says, follow me, but never says, here is the purpose I will serve, even if you refuse me. True leadership is not about control, it is about service. True leaders don't seek followers, they serve purpose so compelling, so consistent that people volunteer their trust. Imported power ideas create charismatic rulers who spend trust they never earned. They borrow your belief with slogans, then default on the debt in private. That is why nations get cynical. That is why families grow quiet. That is why teams meet and nothing moves. The account is overdrawn by performance spending. Hear the prophetic warning. Woe to the land when a slave becomes king. Ecclesiastes 10:16. Not a slave in chains, a slave in soul. An unhealed soul with a title will mortgage the nation's trust to fund his insecurity. He will trade principles for applause, sell tomorrow for a headline today. Samuel warned Israel when they demanded an image of leadership. He will take your sons, your daughters, your fields, and you will cry out 1 Samuel 8:11-18. Paraphrase. That is what insecure power does it takes. Trust dies where taking replaces serving. So write this down. Unlearn the performance models. Detox the Greek charisma myth and the Roman spectacle spirit. Dethrone the colonizer in your head that says position equals permission. Recover a higher vision of human dignity. You were made in the image of God to serve a purpose, to embody truth over time with transparent habits that produce a track record. That is where trust begins again. Not on the stage, but in the soul. Not by applause, but by alignment. And only then can we move from rulers who spend trust to leaders who steward it. Make a note of this. Trust survives where character is king and self-discipline is the guard. Write this down. True leadership is about becoming more than doing identity before activity. Before you rush to perform, become the kind of person performance cannot corrupt. Before you ask us to trust your plan, show us the person who will not betray us when the plan is pressured. What did I say? Become. If you cannot lead yourself, we dare not entrust you with us. Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life. Proverbs 4:23. The issues of leadership are heart issues before they are headline issues. Reduce yourself to your first name. Titles hide emptiness. Essence sustains influence. When your name alone carries weight, you do not need regalia to rent respect. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. So who are you when no one is clapping? Who are you when you are not on the flyer? Who are you when the microphone is off and the room is empty? True leadership is not about image. It is about integrity. A clean heart is better than a clean resume. David prayed, create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51:10. That is leadership language, spirit first, platform later. Discipline yourself to protect trust. A leader imposes on themselves what others try to impose on them. Paul said, I discipline my body and bring it into subjection. 1 Corinthians 9:27. That is a leader talking to his appetites like a commander to a soldier. He who rules his spirit is better than he who takes a city. Proverbs 16:32. Conquer yourself before you campaign to conquer problems. Control your calendar before you promise hours. Govern your tongue before you ask for a microphone. Order your finances before you ask us to fund your vision. Master your anger before you manage a team. If you cannot sit with pain without medicating with lies, you are a danger to our future. Say it aloud. Discipline protects trust. Let me give you the inner architecture of a trustworthy life. A healthy self-concept, seeing yourself as made in the image of God, stops you from begging for approval with performance. Passion, not hype, but conviction about purpose fuels endurance when applause cools. Excellence, habitual commitment to do things well, makes promises believable before you make them. Compassion, love in action keeps your power pointed toward people, not toward your ego. Add to these the quiet strength, humility to be corrected, courage to be consistent, and self-control to say no to what will mortgage tomorrow. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Galatians 5:22-23. Notice the last word, self-control, the lock on the treasury of trust. Here's your diagnostic. What are your non-negotiables when no one is watching? What do you refuse to do, even if it profits you? What do you insist on doing, even if it costs you? Do you arrive when you said you would? Answer when you said you would? Return what you borrowed? Finish what you started? Apologize without a PR team? Reduce yourself to your first name and let your private discipline speak for you. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind, Romans 12:2, because transformation births trust. The world does not need more performers. It needs person souls with structure. Install character as king and place self-discipline at the gate, and your influence will survive storms that topple titles. Make a note of this. Trust is proven, not proclaimed. Write this down. Tests reveal the leader beneath the title. Anybody can announce integrity. Only trials authenticate it. Every way of a man is right in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the hearts. Proverbs 21:2. Let us weigh, not by applause, but by examinations. The first is the money test. Handle what is not yours with sacred care. Receipts reveal reverence. Jesus said, if you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if you have not been faithful in what is another man's, who will give you what? What is your own? Luke 16:12. Make a note of this. Economics governs trust. Write this down. Trust behaves like capital. Steady deposits multiply, but deception creates catastrophic loss. What did I say? Capital. Influence is a credit line extended by people to your character. Your title is not collateral, your discipline is. Dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Proverbs 11:1. Scales, math, measurements, God weighs leaders. Deposits are small things on time. Tell the truth. Admit the miss. Call when you said you would call. Return what you borrowed. Deliver the number you promised. Show your math. Publish the process, not just the product. Little coins, pennies of integrity. Do not despise them. Compound interest is invisible until it isn't. Keep stacking the small yeses, and suddenly you have permission to make big moves without debate. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. Luke 16:10. Every least is a deposit slip. Withdrawals feel small too. One unexplained change, one quiet omission, one clever spin, one will update you later that never comes. But hear the banker in a father's voice. Withdrawals cost more than deposits pay. Spin is expensive. Secrecy carries fees. Missed promises pull from principal, not interest, and deception, that is a market crash. A little leaven leavens the whole lump, Galatians 5-9. One lie infects the loaf. Write this down. Trust grows by inches, breaks by miles, and returns by millimeters with measured steps. Let me teach you the leak principle. Hiddenness is a slow puncture that flattens momentum. You don't hear the hiss at first. The tire looks strong. The car still moves. Speeches still land. But you are losing lift. Meetings get longer. Energy gets lower. People nod but stop moving. There is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17. Secrets are slow leaks. Exposure is the blowout. Wise leaders fix the puncture before the highway curve. Publish the pressure. Patch it in the light. Keep moving. Reality check. Make a note of this. One breach does not end you. Unrepented breaches do. David fell, but he did not fake. I have sinned against the Lord. 2 Samuel 12:13. Ownership stopped the hemorrhage. Saul spun, blamed, performed, and lost the kingdom. You cannot outperform compound distrust. Repentance is a wire transfer. It is costly, public, accountable, and over time it rebuilds principle. Be sure your sin will find you out. Numbers 32-23. So send honesty to meet it first. Here is your mantra to memorize and to mentor with. Trust grows by inches, breaks by miles, and returns by millimeters with measured steps. Manage your inches. Refuse the mile of deceit. Start the millimeters today. One clear report, one corrected error, one kept boundary, one timely arrival. In the day of crisis, there will be a run on your bank. If you have compounded character, you will have liquidity for courage. If you have hidden leaks, you will default under headlines. Choose compounding. Refuse collapse. And if you have already dented the account, don't despair, prepare. The repair has rules. We will walk them out. Make a note of this. Broken trust can heal only through specific ownership, sustained correction, and accountable time. Write this down. The repair has rules. Not vibes, not tears, rules. What did I say? Rules. Mercy forgives. Discipline repairs. He who covers his sins will not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes them will have mercy. Proverbs 28-13. Confess and forsake 2 legs of the same journey. Step 1. Name it specifically. No fog, no spin, no mistakes were made. Say the noun and the verb. I lied about the numbers. I broke my vow. I misused the funds. Clarity honors those you hurt. David said, against you only have I sinned, that you may be found just when you speak. Psalm 51-4. Specificity cleans the wound so it can close. Vague confessions are infections. Bring it to light. Luke 8:17 is still in the Bible. Step 2, own the principle you violated. Use the 4 T's as your mirror. Did you break truth? Then stop speaking until your words weigh the same as your data. Did you break time? Then rebuild reliability with calendar obedience. Did you break transparency? Then open the books, the process, the inbox. Did you break track record? Then stack small faithful acts till history speaks for you again. Bear fruits worthy of repentance, Matthew 3-8. Repentance is not a speech, it's a schedule. Step 3, restitution. Repay what you can, money, time, opportunities, dignity. Zacchaeus said, if I have taken anything, I restore fourfold. Luke 19-8. That is leadership. If you stole money, return it with interest. If you stole time, give it back with service. If you stole opportunity, open doors and sponsor those you sideline. If you injured dignity, apologize at the same volume you offended. Private sin, private apology. Public sin, public apology. Step 4, submit to external accountability. Invite boundaries you cannot remove. Don't pick critics you can fire. Appoint a council of sober elders, an independent auditor, a human resources overseer with veto power over your privileges. In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Let them set curfews on travel, rules on meetings, access to your calendars and communications. Hebrews 13:17. Submit to those who watch over your soul. Submission is the guardrail of restoration. Step 5, set probation metrics and timeline, measurable, observable, verifiable. Write the vision and make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2. For the next 12 months, monthly financial disclosures posted by the 5th, 100% on-time deliverables for 2 consecutive quarters, no unsupervised one-on-ones, weekly transparency reports, public Q&A every quarter. If any metric is missed, privileges, pause for 30 days, dates, numbers, dashboards, let your yes be yes, Matthew 5:37. Warning, you are not entitled to instant restoration. Forgiveness can be immediate. Permission must be earned. God may cleanse your heart in a moment. People heal by inches. Do not demand the platform you damage. Carry chairs. Serve the vision you wounded. If a man is overtaken in any trespass, you who are spiritual, restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Galatians 6:1. Gentleness for the person, strictness for the process. Write this down. You are not punished by process. You are protected by it. Name it, own it, repay it, submit to it, measure it, wait for it. Trust returns by millimeters with measured steps. Pray it like David. Create in me a clean heart, O God, Psalm 51:10. Then prove it with calendars, counselors, and receipts. That is the leader's repair protocol, fatherly, firm, and full of hope for the disciplined soul. Make a note of this. Why citizens verify before they entrust. Write this down. Questions are the guardians of communal trust. Do not clap a leader you have not questioned. Do not entrust a future to a voice you have not vetted. The simple believes every word, but the prudent considers well his steps. Proverbs 14:15. So here's your toolkit. Take it to the town hall, the boardroom, the PTA, the union meeting, the campaign rally. Make an appointment to go and see him or her. Leadership must be interrogated before it is celebrated. Open with purpose. Ask plainly, what is your purpose? Reduce it to one sentence without slogans. If they say to serve the people, ask, serve them to what end? To what measurable future? Leadership is about purpose, not popularity. Then ask passion. What makes you weep and what keeps you awake? Passion reveals assignment. If they cannot bleed for something bigger than themselves, don't lend them your arteries. Now ask principles. Name 5 non-negotiables you will not trade for votes, money, or praise. What did I say? Non-negotiables. For each one, say, give me one time you paid a price to keep that principle. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16. Fruits are receipts. Ask for evidence. Show me where you kept your word when it cost you votes or money, minutes, memos, budgets, vetoes, the paper trail of integrity. If they point to speeches, say, I'm not asking for sound bites, I'm asking for scars. Test all things. Hold fast what is good. 1 Thessalonians 5:21. Evidence is how we hold. Next. Authority over the leader. Who disciplines you? Who can fire you? What is your monthly accountability rhythm? Name the people, not just the positions. How often do you meet? What do they see? Calendars, finances, communications. Can they suspend your privileges? Is it in writing? Can I see it? In the multitude of counselors, there is safety. Proverbs 11:14. Safety for us requires scrutiny for you. Then observation, because character leaks in small places. How do they treat the waiter, the driver, the custodian? Do they learn names, say thank you, wait with patience, ask, when did you last change your mind because of feedback? Let them answer. Ask, tell me the last time you said no to flattery and yes to correction. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, Proverbs 27:6. If they cannot tolerate a loving wound, they will injure a nation to protect their image. And remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, Luke 6:45. Listen for humility, not hype. Guardrails for discernment. If they can't answer with clarity, don't give them your confidence. Silence is an answer. Vagueness is camouflage. Slogans are receipts from an empty account. Let another man praise you and not your own mouth. Proverbs 27:2. Watch who does the praising. It should be history, not the candidate. Write this down. Do not vote until you vet. Do not sign until you see. Do not follow until you question. Carry this toolkit like a shield. Because when you interrogate leaders with love and truth, you are not being cynical. You are being responsible stewards of the only currency we all must live on, trust. Let me open my diary for a moment. Write this down. Trust begins where no one claps. I learned it at midnight. I remember it like it was last night, 3:07 a.m. No music, no microphone, just the sound of my own excuses. I had an argument with God. I saw two men in the mirror, the man with the message and the man with the margin, the public strength and the private slackness. I whispered Psalm 139:23. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and see if there is any wicked way in me. And he did. He showed me that my inconsistency was not a scheduling problem. It was a sovereignty problem. Who ruled me when no one was watching? Make a note of this. I wanted impact without deeper discipline. I wanted open doors while leaving closets ajar. And heaven said to me, clear as a verdict, no character, no currency. Say it aloud. No character, no currency. Luke 16:10 echoed in the quiet. He who is faithful in what is least is faithful also in much. I was asking for much while negotiating with least. Then Matthew 6:6 walked in the room. When you pray, go into your secret place. The Spirit tapped my conscience and said, you are asking me to fund a life you refuse to audit. Where did you hide what you preach? Where did you soften what you promise? Where did you delay the truth because it would cost you convenience? That night became my turning point. I set alarms for integrity. I put honesty on my calendar. Financial guardrails first. 2 signatures on every expenditure over a set amount. No cash advances without receipts within 24 hours. Monthly statements sent to an independent reviewer. My honorarium routed through policy, not personality. Transparency next. Publish the budget summary to the board before they ask. Show my math when I spoke numbers. If I missed a target, admit it in writing within the week. Truth-telling when inconvenient. If a host asked for exaggerated metrics, I said no. If I was late, I did not blame traffic. If the data changed, the message changed. And confession on schedule. Proverbs 28:13. He who covers his sins will not prosper. I stopped covering. I apologize at the same volume I offended. 1 John 1-7. Walk in the light. What happened? Quiet restraints birth public trust. Doors began to open that charm had knocked on for years without answer. Invitations came, not because my smile widened, but because my record tightened. By their fruits you will know them. Matthew 7:16 became my marketing department. A leader said to me, we didn't pick you for your charisma. We picked you because your emails tell the truth. Proverbs 22:29 proved itself. A spirit of excellence will stand before kings, not because of flattery, but because of fidelity. Write this down. Public trust is purchased with private discipline long before the applause. So here is your assignment. Take your own midnight, 30 minutes. Mirror, pen, paper, and painful truth. Ask, where am I late? Where am I loose? Where am I unsupervised? Who can correct me by name? What numbers need light? Who must I apologize to before the sun sets? Pray Psalm 51:10. Create in me a clean heart, O God. Then set alarms, daily truth practice, weekly transparency report, monthly financial audit, quarterly confession with counselors. Win in the dark, and the day will not own you. Heaven will loan you trust. People will deposit it, guard it at all costs. Make a note of this. Politicians are concerned about the next election. Leaders are concerned about the next generation. Write this down. Vision over votes. What did I say? Vision over votes. Where there is no vision, the people perish, Proverbs 29-18 KJV. Perish means they drift, decay, and distrust. Elections without vision produce crowds. Vision produces a future. True leadership is not about securing a term. It is about stewarding a timeline long enough for trust to bear fruit in children you may never meet. Statesmanship spends political capital to build moral capital. Truth over trend. Trends buy headlines. Truth builds history. Gandhi warned us, politics without principles destroys nations. Let me add this, principles preserve trust. A statesman will lose a poll to keep a principle because character is the collateral of tomorrow's prosperity. The righteous man walks in his integrity. His children are blessed after him, Proverbs 20-7. After him, hear the horizon in that phrase. Your integrity fertilizes soil you will not plow. Consider Joseph. He built silos in years of plenty while critics laughed at empty barns. When famine came, the barns spoke for him. Write it down. Unpopular preparation today becomes undeniable protection tomorrow. Statesmanship funds sewage before stadiums, literacy before lighting effects, bridges before billboards, rule of law before ribbon cuttings. The crowd may boo a wastewater plant, but grandchildren bless clean rivers. They may yawn at a reading program, but decades later, prisons are smaller and payrolls are bigger. Seek the peace and prosperity of the city, for in its peace you will have peace. Jeremiah 29-7, paraphrase. Peace is built, not broadcast, poured in concrete, codified in policy, measured in generations. Trust remembers who planted trees. You may not sit under the shade, but history will plant anyway. Approve the budget that reduces corruption, even if it reduces your convenience. Pass the procurement reform that slows deals but saves destiny. Invest in early childhood, teacher dignity, water reliability, freight capacity, digital infrastructure, things that do not trend on social media but transform a century. Politicians spend trust to win a moment. Statesmen invest trust to redeem a millennium of minutes. Here is your ruler. Use it for every decision. Will this bless my grandchildren's children? If yes, proceed. If not, revise. Set your calendar to a 25-year cadence. Publish a generational plan with dates you will not live to see and metrics you refuse to manipulate. Accept the pain of pruning promises that purchase applause today but create deficits tomorrow. Financial deficits, moral deficits, trust deficits. A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children, Proverbs 13:22. Inheritance is larger than money. It is a culture of truth, a habit of transparency, a highway of track record. Woe to the land when a slave and soul becomes king. He will trade tomorrow for trinkets tonight. Ecclesiastes 10:16 implied. But blessed is the city whose leaders fear God, love truth, and mortgage their popularity to build posterity. Lead for faces you will never see. Govern as if your signature must answer to history's courtroom, because it will. And hear the Father's charge. Reduce yourself to your first name. Enlarge your horizon to your great-grandchildren. And protect the only currency you have by planting what you may never harvest. Real leaders invest trust into futures they may never personally reap. Heaven keeps the receipts and history does the praising. Make a note of this. Trust flourishes where truth is ritualized and integrity is celebrated as culture. Write this down. Light is not a mood. Light is policy. God is light. In him, there is no darkness at all. 1 John 1-5. If you want God's presence in your leadership, make light your procedure. True leadership is not about promises in the air. It is about practices on the calendar. Culture is what you repeatedly do, not what you occasionally declare. Institutionalize transparency. Open the books and open the rooms. Post the KPIs where everyone can see them clear, dated, and explained. Publish minutes within 24 hours. Who said what was decided, what is due by when. No fog. Put away lying. Let each one of you speak truth with his neighbor. Ephesians 4:25. Build dashboards, not rumors. Shared minutes make shared minds. Open books make open hearts. In a company, monthly financial summaries to all staff, quarterly town halls with Q&A, procurement decisions logged in a public tracker. In a ministry, offerings counted by 2, audited by 1, reported to all. In government, freedom of information as default, not exception. Contracts on a public portal. Cabinet decisions summarized for citizens within the week. What did I say? Light is policy. Honor, punctuality, time stewardship signals people's stewardship. To everything there is a season. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Start when you said, end when you promised. Meetings that begin late preach. You don't matter. Trains that never arrive on time teach. We cannot be trusted. So ritualized clocks, daily stand up at 9 a.m. sharp, grace period 0, minutes released by noon. In families, eat when you said, pick up the child when you promised, keep bedtime like a covenant. Time is the first test of truth. Normalize confession. Write this down. Confession is not humiliation, it is hygiene. Confess your faults one to another and pray for one another that you may be healed. James 5:16. Create weekly miss and make right moments. Every Friday, each team member names one miss and one measurable make right due date. No spin, no blame. In the home, a Sunday circle. One regret, one repair. In the cabinet, a closed door integrity review with minutes kept and actions assigned. When truth becomes a ritual, shame loses its throne. Reward integrity, not just results. Celebrate the person who told the hard truth early, not the genius who hid the risk and barely saved a quarter. Promotions for candor, bonuses for early flags, awards for accurate forecasts, not just glossy outcomes. Know well the condition of your flocks, Proverbs 27-23. The condition includes character metrics. Put truth kept under pressure on performance reviews. Let I corrected the number before the meeting carry more weight than I closed the deal by any means. Identity must be rehearsed. Say it aloud right now. I am necessary and I will discipline myself to protect trust. Again, I am necessary and I will discipline myself to protect trust. Rituals engrave identity into behavior. Post the creed on the wall. Open every meeting with 1 minute of truth, a number, a lesson, a correction. Close every week with 1 page of transparency. Task done, task delayed, reasons and remedies. If we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship. 1 John 1-7. Fellowship is trust. Teams, families, nations build altars of light, codify truth, celebrate integrity, schedule repentance. Start this week, set it in writing, and let your culture preach before you do. Make a note of this. Guard against the trio that rots trust from within. Convenience, secrecy, and showmanship. Write this down. Termites don't shout. They chew in silence. What did I say? Chew. Your leadership is not destroyed first by enemies outside, but by these 3 eating your beams from the inside. Convenience kills covenants. Easy now, costly later. Esau traded his birthright for stew, momentary hunger, permanent loss. Genesis 25-29-34. That's convenience. Leaders do it with shortcuts. Waive the policy. Just this once. Announce before you verify. Promise beyond capacity because the crowd is hot tonight. The narrow gate still saves destinies. Narrow is the way which leads to life. Matthew 7:14. Choose the hard right over the easy wrong. Pre-decide your principles in writing so fatigue cannot negotiate with them. Delay announcements until data is double-checked. Keep the process even when the clock screams. Make a covenant with cost. If the integrity step adds time, you add time, no exceptions. Better to arrive later with your soul intact than to win headlines and mortgage tomorrow. Secrecy breeds suspicion. If you must hide it, you should likely not do it. There is nothing hidden that will not be disclosed. Luke 8:17. Darkness is cheap rent with an eviction notice. Hidden meetings, off-book accounts, side channels without minutes. These are seed beds of scandal. Have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose them. Ephesians 5:11. Guardrail. No decisions without minutes. No money without 2 signatures. No private meetings where policy is shaped without a witness and a record. Adopt the billboard test. If this text were projected in the town square, would it read like light? If not, don't send it. Set your communications to assume discovery. Matthew 12:36 still warns us, every idle word will be accounted for. Live accountably now. Charisma without character is counterfeit. Glitter is not gold. Israel chose Saul because he looked the part, tall, impressive, but small on the inside. He feared people more than he feared God. 1 Samuel 10:15. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. Wolves wear sheep's clothing because costumes are cheaper than character. Matthew 7:15. Write this down. Applause is not authentication. Track record is guardrail. Reduce yourself to your first name. Submit your gift to governance truth tellers who can cut your mic. Metrics over memes, receipts over reels, scars over selfies. No platform expansion without a parallel expansion of accountability. If your spotlight is brighter than your soul light, you will burn digital age discipline. Assume the mic is on and the camera is rolling. Nothing is off the record. The cloud keeps better minutes than your secretary. He who walks uprightly walks securely. Proverbs 10:9. Walk in one piece, integrated. Guardrail. One device, audited logs, no disappearing messages for leadership business, 2-minute pause before you post, and a monthly review of your digital footprint with your accountability team. Live so that leaks only confirm what you already confessed. Prophetic caution. Woe to the land when entertainment crowns its kings, Ecclesiastes 10:16 implied. Rome fed the masses bread and circuses while rot ate the Senate. Don't let smoke machines replace substance. Choose covenant over convenience, light over secrecy, character over charisma. Write this down. The show may win a moment, the soul wins a century. God, the only currency you have, trust by building fences where your flesh wants shortcuts, spotlights, and shadows. Make a note of this. When trust leaves the room, leadership dies. Write this down. Your leadership life depends on one stewardship. Protect trust at all costs. Not money, not microphones. Trust. A good name is to be chosen rather than great riches, Proverbs 22:1. A good name is simply accumulated truth over time. Today, I am not inspiring you, I am enlisting you. This is a commission, not a suggestion. Here is your 7-day trust challenge. For 7 days, practice deposits. Day 1, tell one hard truth you have delayed, name it plainly, no spin. Day 2, keep one hard promise you have been tempted to move, deliver exactly as pledged. Day 3, reveal one hidden metric to the proper audience, open the numbers, show the math. Day 4, repair one old breach call, confess, and, if possible, make restitution. Day 5, schedule one accountability, meeting with people who can correct you, put it on the calendar with an agenda. Day 6, arrive early every day this week, 5 to 10 minutes early. Time is trust in minutes. Day 7, serve one person who cannot repay you quietly, generously, without photo or post. Let your yes be yes, Matthew 5:37. Small yeses build great names. Set a solitude appointment. Take a private retreat, 2 hours if you can, a day if you must. Bring a pen, a Bible, and your honest self. Write your principles, your guardrails, your non-negotiables. Put them in sentences that a child can repeat. I do not lie. I do not hide money. I am on time. I submit to review. Then write the procedures that protect them. 2 signatures, public minutes, monthly audits, open calendars. Write the vision and make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2, sign it, date it, place it where your eyes must accuse you every morning. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Proverbs 4:23 NIV. Principles are heart fences. Choose community, an accountability partner with authority to interrupt you. Not a fan, a friend who fears God more than they fear losing you. Give them keys, access to your schedule, your statements, your staff. Let them ask anything, anytime, and answer with receipts. Put your meetings in rhythm, weekly check-ins, monthly audits, quarterly reviews. Two are better than one, for if they fall, one will lift up his companion. Ecclesiastes 4:9-10. Lift each other into light. Seal your identity. Reduce yourself to your first name. Titles are disguises. Essence is destiny. Serve your gift. Keep becoming so you don't need to keep performing. Let your track record speak louder than your introductions. Let another man praise you and not your own mouth. Proverbs 27:2. History must do your marketing. Say it aloud. I am necessary and I will discipline myself to protect trust. We close with a vow. What do leaders work with? Trust. Say it again. What do leaders work with? Trust. What will you protect? Trust. Louder. What will you protect? Trust. Heaven is listening and history is waiting. Go now and make deposits. Truth today, time kept, transparency, ritualized, track record accumulated. If you guard the currency, God will expand the territory. I charge you before the Lord and your own conscience. Protect trust at all costs, and your leadership will live.